Ugh, who cares about Mega Evolution? Primal forms are way more important, so why doesn't Shinx have one? One of the two gods of Pokemon and neither one are rocking primal forms? I don't know about that one, buddy.
Everybody like, hey, are you ready to go? Ready to go. Everybody like, hey.
Alright, what is up y'all? Soul here and welcome back to my story mode. Now I'm sure that you've noticed, but it's actually only March, so we have quite some time before these remakes are upon us. And considering that at this point in time we only got the reveals a couple of weeks ago, it's probably gonna be some time before we get some more actual news on them. So, as per usual, all we're doing is sitting and speculating. And while this is kind of a video that I wanted to make for a little while, the rumors that came out regarding this topic kind of made me want to delve into things just a little bit deeper. If you saw the title of the video, you already know what we're talking about. We're talking about the possibility of Mega Evolution making its way into the remakes. More specifically, we're going to be talking about if we even need Mega Evolution in these remakes. But I'm sure that probably raised a lot of questions in y'all's heads. What makes you think we're even getting Mega Evolution? Now, if y'all know me, you know that I'm not really one to usually pay heavy attention to rumors or leaks or whatever because I don't believe it until it comes straight from the horse's mouth. Obviously, if it's something that I came across and I think that it's worth thinking about for a future video or something like that, I'm most likely gonna end up bringing it up because I feel like it might be important to future entries. This is my way of warning you guys that I am gonna be kinda talking about a rumor. Even though that's not the main point of the video, I think it is worth considering. But with that, why don't we go ahead and start talking about what the rumor was. Late last month, sometime very soon after the announcements, a website that goes by Pokeshopper.com posted that there's gonna be a Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl official figurine campaign promotion to feature Mega Lucario and Mega Charizard X. So essentially, to break it down, it sounds like there's gonna be figurines made to help promote the game. And obviously everybody lost their minds because Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are in the title of that, and we're getting Mega Evolution figurines. So by connecting a couple dots here and there, everybody came to the same conclusion. Simply that they wouldn't advertise these figurines unless they had Mega Evolution coming to the Gen 4 remakes. So me personally, I'm not really sure that this exactly constitutes the confirmation of Mega Evolution, but it does raise a couple of valid questions. Why would they label these figures under the remake titles if they had nothing to do with it? And more specifically, why Mega Charizard? Now it'd be one thing if Lucario were by himself. He's a very huge fan favorite Pokemon introduced in Gen 4. Charizard, however, is very clearly not a Gen 4 Pokemon. So why? There are literally other Pokemon that have Mega Evolutions that were introduced in Gen 4. For example, Obama another big example, a very obvious one at that, Garchomp. So why Charizard again? And that right there is kind of what invalidates this for me. The title that they gave that post or the title that they're giving these figurines could literally mean nothing more. Unless it's because Charizard has a place in the game. However, that's very clearly a topic for another day. So now for the most part, you're pretty much caught up on every rumor that might have been spread around that might infer that Mega Evolution is coming to the remakes. If you are under the impression that this is trustworthy and true, hey, I can't even blame you. If you can convince me otherwise, I very much implore you to do so, but until that time, I'm gonna go ahead and just keep my ears open for anything else because I'm not entirely sure about that one, Chief. Moving on here, I think it's about time we start getting into the actual video. Do we actually need Mega Evolution in the remakes? If you know me, you know exactly how this is gonna go down. I have my bads, I have my goods, and I have my overall thoughts on the matter. Why don't we start getting into it then? First, let's talk about why it could be a good thing to have Mega Evolution in the remakes. Let's consider once again that of the gimmicks that we do have available to us, Mega Evolution is definitely the safest and it definitely makes the most sense. We've been saying that Dynamaxing could not be a thing in the remakes for months simply because it's always been an exclusive thing to the Galar region. It can't and should not happen in other regions. Z-moves on the other hand are a very different story. There's actually nothing saying that we can't utilize Z-moves outside of Alola. So as far as we know, in the world of Pokemon, Z-moves could be a very popular thing all around the world. Or maybe it's simply popular in Alola only because that's where they get all the Z crystals. Again, who's to say? But sit and think with me here for a second. Why is it that we don't have any other games that feature the whole mechanic of Z-moves? The closest we've even managed to get with that is in Pokemon Masters with sync moves, but that is very clearly not the same thing. Z-moves require a Z-crystal and can only be used once, as to where sync moves are built up over time during the battle with the trainer. In a way, you could say that sync moves are more based off of Z-moves, but really nothing more than that. Other than that, Z-moves are simply nowhere to be found. But going right back to Mega Evolution, the whole thing has been introduced in other regions entirely. That sucker has been sprinkled across so many different games, apps, and even toys that I've lost count at this point. Hell, even Pokemon Rumble has Mega Evolution. Do any of y'all remember Pokemon Rumble? Probably not before I said it. Anyway, point is, it's obviously the most versatile because it's such a fan favorite that they had a hard time letting it go, so it got spread across quite a few games. Hence why, back to my first point, I do think that it is the safest and the most sensible option. Moving on to my next point, there's a huge chance that we're going to get introduced to new Mega Evolutions. People, myself included, have been saying for quite some time now that there are Pokemon, like Luxray, that are very deserving of Mega Evolutions, and dagnabbit, this might just be the time to finally do it. When you take a look back at Auras, there was an abundance of 3rd gen Pokemon that got Mega Evolutions just because it took place in that region. So if we're getting reintroduced to Sinnoh and we're also getting reintroduced to Megas, it would only make sense if there were Mega Evolutions that were introduced exclusively in this region. Luxray, Staraptor, Purugly, Toxicroak, all of which are definitely some solid Pokemon that have been nominated for Mega Evolution for quite some time now. At this point in time, it would only make sense as to why they were held off. But hey, even if not them, there are Pokemon that reside exclusively in the Sinnoh region that definitely deserve that power boost. Going into my next point, I have to say, this would be a very well needed change. To explain myself a little bit better here, when the remakes were first announced, everybody's first initial thought was, we didn't really get much info on new stuff. Is this gonna play out exactly how the originals did? Yeah, cool, the models have been upscaled to 3D as well as the environment, but is that truly the only new thing that we're getting out of these remakes? Now, as much as I love 4th gen, I have to say a direct carbon copy with no changes present for a game that's well over a decade old would be kinda weird. Again, think back to the 3rd gen remakes Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Take away a Mega Evolution as well as Primal forms and what have we got? That's right, essentially just an upscaled port. Currently with our 4th gen remakes and the information that we're rocking, that's what it's looking like. With the remakes prior, it just goes to show that throwing in Mega Evolution could change the game more than we even realize. And hey, there's plenty of new players that don't even really know or understand what Mega Evolution is yet. And obviously, new players are probably more than used to gimmicks by now. So, overall, it'd probably do more good than harm to just hand over Mega Evolution to them. That kind of brings me into my last point, which is that it could add that well-needed challenge that we've been searching for. Just like any other game prior, just because it applies to us doesn't mean that it won't apply to any important figures that we're gonna end up battling on our journey. Yeah, all those Team Galactic goons that you thought were pieces of cake, yeah, you might want to watch out now, pal. I want all the planet leaders rocking some heavy sets, bro. Cynthia is probably gonna be waiting on us strapped up, ready to go with some crazy mega that might not even be Garchomp. It will probably be Garchomp, but who knows. Also, if there is another example that this game can take from the 3rd gen remakes, it's the fact that they can reintroduce primals. It would make sense to make them a tad stronger if we're gonna be a tad stronger. And it's super likely because the first primal Pokemon ever introduced was Primal Dialga. If there was ever a time to reintroduce him to the mainline series, I think now would be that time. Cause you know for a fact the battle against the primals would be kind of intense. If done right, of course. So that pretty much just about wraps it up as far as all the good things that could come of Mega Evolution making its way into the remakes. So why don't we go ahead and take it to things that may not be so good if Mega Evolution were included. For starters, that means that we are definitely on a different timeline yet again. Just like the first time around when Mega Evolutions got introduced to remakes, it pretty much invalidated the original games. We're now sitting on a timeline where Pokemon are just generally stronger and, they have different forms, I guess. Obviously, Mega Evolution did not exist originally, so with these remakes, that would confirm that we would be sitting on an alternate timeline yet again. So story-wise going forward, this makes the original games almost meaningless. Now, taking a step back and really looking at it from afar, I do understand why they would do that. Saying that it sits on a different timeline is pretty much just a way to kind of appease and ease the older fans, while simultaneously introducing the newer fans to these gimmicks and things like that, so that nobody gets too confused story-wise along the way. Giving us remakes in general kind of invalidates the originals anyway, and I do understand that. It's just a little sad, that's all. It just really goes to show that story has never really truly been Pokemon's first priority, and I understand that by now. But hey, whatever. Let's move on. My next point is that since these remakes appear so very close to the originals, it's more than likely that the way that they implement Megas in the story is probably not gonna really feel all that natural. Like I literally said a couple seconds ago, Pokemon's priority has never really been the story. So when I think about a game that's super duper extremely almost unrecognizably close to the original, I think of Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Specifically, I'm talking about those two robotic goons that just kind of popped in at random points during the story, spouted absolute nonsense, and weren't really showed to be any kind of important until the very end. And even then, they actually weren't all that crucial. So all I'm saying is, I really hope that if they were to add Mega Evolution, that they don't try to hammer in some absolute nonsense just for the sake of making it work. I'm sure that there's an abundance of ways that they could make it flow a little bit more naturally into the story, and even maybe possibly change a couple of story elements to make things work a little bit better. I'd be totally fine with that. Long story short, Mega Evolution would 100% have an absolute overhaul on the story and some of its characters in a way. So, the best you can do is take the time and make that work properly. Y'all actually managed to do okay in ORAS. Maybe do it again. My last point here is actually kind of funny when you think about it, but there is also an off chance that they would give us the mechanic of Mega Evolution, but not introduce any new Mega Evolution Pokemon. That would be the absolute most tragic thing that they could do to us. Yeah, sure, y'all been begging for Mega Evolution again for years, so go ahead, you can have... What? What's that? Oh, you want new Mega Evolutions? No. No. Good luck, kids. Wouldn't that just be evil? Now, I absolutely highly doubt that they would do something like that, but on the off chance that it did happen, we would be super limited for a while in the Megas department until we get access to the National Dex and Pokemon Home. But that's assuming that we even get the National Dex. I'm assuming we will. This is supposed to be a 1-to-1 almost, I assume, but there's no guarantee that we'll actually get the National Dex and have access to every Pokemon again. Which means that we'd only have access to a very small handful of Megas. Off the top of my head, the only one that I could think of that you could even get early would be Lopunny. And that's if you want a Lopunny on your team, otherwise it's gonna take a hot minute. It would definitely be kinda hilarious, but it would also be absolutely tragic. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say as far as the goods and the bads of adding Mega Evolution to the remakes. So now let's get back to the main question of the video. Do we need Mega Evolution? After thinking through it heavy, I personally am under the assumption that we are in need of Mega Evolution. While it's not necessarily new, it would definitely be a big change to the game. And that's at least one more thing that makes it so that we're not spending full price just for upgraded graphics and revived online features. I also think that it's probably the easiest way to satisfy a majority of people. On one hand, you have a group of people that were introduced to Pokemon with gimmicks involved. Whether it be Gen 6, 7, or 8, they were introduced to a Pokemon game expecting the next one to have a gimmick involved to change the game in some way, shape, or form. And then on the other hand, you've pretty much got the OGs. These are people that grew up on Pokemon without any kind of gimmicks whatsoever. A lot of them would say that the game was getting stale, and then every time they were introduced to a new gimmick, they pretty much complained because it wasn't the same Pokemon. But one thing you will always hear a majority of the OG fans say collectively is that Mega Evolution was definitely the better of the three gimmicks to come out of recent Pokemon years. So now you're looking for a way to satisfy both the new fans as well as the older fans while reintroducing an older game that never usually involved a gimmick. If you want my vote, I simply say put them on the one thing that they all enjoyed collectively: Mega Evolution. It ain't necessarily broke yet, so I say why not go ahead and work with it a little bit more. So that pretty much says about everything that I have to say about Mega Evolution making its way potentially into the remakes. All in all, I do appreciate when Pokemon takes new strides to try something new, so every time they introduce the new gimmick, I wasn't like, oh god, here they go again. No, they're trying something new, and I appreciate it, and I'm obviously going to try it out because I'm more than likely to play the game. Now, I'm just saying I don't hate the other gimmicks. That's not the case. I'm just saying that if I had to be stuck with one, I would prefer Mega Evolution. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it makes the most sense, and it's everybody's collective favorite. So why not? At the end of the day though, this is a complete hypothetical. Nothing has been confirmed. Mega Evolution is in no way, shape, or form confirmed for the remakes. It's just a possibility, and there are ways that they could do it right, and there are ways that they could do it wrong. I'm just hoping that they do it right if they do add it. But I do believe that it definitely helps more than it hurts. And that's all I have to say on that. Well, that's just about everything I have to say, so with that, I want to hear your guys' opinions on things. Do y'all want Mega Evolution? Do you not want Mega Evolution? Do you want a different gimmick to come back? Like Z-moves? Or for some reason Dynamaxing? If you want that, that's totally valid. If you really want it, that's I get you. You know, it's not the worst mechanic of all time or anything like that, so if you really want it, sure. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. Tell me what you guys think about the possibility of Mega Evolution coming back in 4th Gen remakes. But I think that's gonna go ahead and do it for me. I'm gonna skedaddle on out of here. So with that, I'm gonna thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content like this, and maybe some other weird things down the line, because I can't talk about the remakes and Pokemon Legends all day now, can I? Expect something different real soon. But with that, I'm out. Thanks again, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.